Hello everybody, my name is Patrick and welcome to Cameras Africa, and today we are going to be talking about off-camera lighting. And off-camera lighting is when you are taking your photos using either a flash or whatever other light source that you're using, but then it's not directly attached to your camera. You're shooting using a flash, or you're shooting using your strobes or whatever other light source that you're using, but then it is not directly attached to your camera, because now this is what most people are used to, taking photos with their flash directly on top. It is not a bad thing, because you still get to achieve good lit image. Okay, not great, but good lit image. But then now we're looking at a point where you can actually improve the quality of images that you get, because then now you get to decide on which side and which light you want to fire from. So that means that you are going to avoid getting a lot of hotspots on the subject. And for me, I believe now that is when now you start getting good quality images. Okay, so you stop staying at the current place of just taking amateurish photos, and then now you start moving more towards a professional way of taking photos. Among the first generation of off-camera lighting, that was the use of cable. So you'd run a cable from your camera directly into your light source. Now, depending on what you are using, most probably those who are normally you would probably be using studio lights, or you'd have a strobe. Then you'd run the cable from there to where the light source is. After that, we went now to infrared. Infrared is when you had to, a perfect example, this is infrared. And infrared, now the only disadvantage with infrared, because I happened to use some part of this technology, is that they had to be in line of sight. So that meant if I was shooting from this direction and the flash was probably facing this way, I wouldn't be able to fire this, because I needed this to be facing me. Okay, because how infrared works is that it has to be in line of sight, and then it has to be at a particular proximity to each other for them to communicate. After that, then now we went to what we are currently using, which is now what we call a radio frequency trigger. A radio frequency trigger uses the same technology as the radio and TVs, and the only difference is that how strong the signal is. So you cannot really shoot in a very long range, but you can easily shoot up to a range of around half a kilometer away, which to me, I think when you're shooting photos and you're styling and you really want to use strobes and everything, that is a very decent distance for you to be shooting. Most of them are on the frequency of 2.4 gigahertz, but now we have got advanced versions which shoot at 5 gigahertz. It's up to you to decide which one works for you, but even an entry-level trigger would definitely serve you very well. Once you have your trigger and you have your source of light, the first thing that you need to do, you need first of all to make sure that they are both synced. By synced, it means that they are basically just connected and they can communicate to each other. Once you press your flash, then the strobe is supposed to actually give out light. Once you have synced them, then now it's upon you now to place it depending on which position you want it to go, for the sake of getting the light perfectly as you would want it to. Most cameras come with a pop-up flash, which we use, but now I'm trying to get you from this to something close to this. A perfect example of an entry-level trigger would be, let me show you, would be a Vesico. With this one you can get it at slightly under 10,000 shillings, and then with a receiver and a transmitter of it, we'll probably get it at slightly below 5,000. Now, there are triggers like this, which are manufacturer made. So you have got a receiver, no, a transmitter, and then the light itself has got a receiver inbuilt. Then we have got the entry level which you can now use this as generic to whichever other make that you're using, because then now we have got a transmitter receiver and you place it onto the shoe of the Speedlite so that now you're able to fire. So with slightly less than 15,000, you can easily now be able to shoot off camera lighting, and the best place to get it would be here at Cameras Africa, located Kenyatta Avenue. So first things first, once you have it synced, we'll just switch it on. So you'll switch this on and then you'll switch this on. I had prior synced them, so it's just a matter of confirming that it's still working. Okay, so it's still working. Good. Now all I need to do is I need to place my transmitter on my camera. Okay, switch it on and then make sure that this is in the right channel, and I can now easily just take a photo, and then the source of light can be anywhere. Okay, okay, you can actually see what is happening when I'm taking a photo. Okay, now the advantage of this, like I said, is that I can position the light whichever place I want to position it, and it would still give me the desired image that I want. So that is the main advantage of shooting off camera, and you avoid getting a lot of hot spots when you're taking your images. So it sort of makes you like the decider of where you want to position the sun, whether you want the sun to be here, 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 depending on the image. Plus as well, you can use multiple lights when you're shooting. The advantage again with this is that you can actually control how much power you want the light to fire without you being there. So that reduces even the number of assistants that you would need in a shoot. When you're taking off camera lighting, or when you're using your Speedlite or your flash for off camera lighting, the advantage is that you decide exactly where you want to place your source of light. In short, you're the one controlling where the position of the sun should be in relation to your subject. And that's how all the adverts are shot, actually all the adverts are shot mostly using off-camera lighting, and that is the future, and that should be the goal of every photographer. Unless now you are a natural light photographer, then that's a totally different case. So that should be something that you should highly consider, as it gives the quality of your image a really big boost by using this kind of technology. So here's a video that I shot using off-camera lighting, and it's basically just a time lapse of how I set up my lights and the resulting image of what I did. So in case you have got any questions about it, then kindly just leave a note on the comments below, and we shall be able to answer it, or I shall be able to answer it and help take you to the next level of photography. So next week we shall be having a beginner user on the Sony camera. So I hope you shall stay tuned as we get to learn more about the Sony camera. Like we said, Sony is the pioneer of mirrorless cameras. So let's get to learn how to better take images using the Sony camera. So see you next week.